All right, welcome back. It's Out to Lunch today. Second segment of the show today. I'm Marky B along with Sonar, Dennis Green with us. And our guests are here with us today, too. And today we're focusing on emergency preparedness. And our guests are Beth Drendel and Mike Oine, who have both been here before. And Division Chief Mike Oine. I'm glad you're wearing your name tag, Mike. I didn't have the titles in front of me. But what's your title, Beth? I'm sorry.
I'm the preparedness specialist for King County Emergency Management.
Okay. Welcome back. I know you were on with Sherry Ashenbrenner recently, so.
Yes. That was
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good to have you guys here. And we are in the middle of the week here. And wasn't there supposed to be an alarm at 11 a.m. today?
There was an alarm today.
It
at
did
11
happen?
o'clock, but that was only meant for like your weather radios, so your emergency weather radios, and other kinds of electronic stuff. So it wasn't something that we were going to be putting out. It was something that was being put out by the state.
Oh, we were hoping we didn't miss the sirens or anything like that.
Sirens were yesterday.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Well, maybe because you were inside.
Oh, that's
you didn't
true.
hear it today.
That's true.
Must not have been a loud siren then. Well, yeah. So it is March 4th through the 8th, and that kind of falls in line because this is the time of year when we maybe, with the weather warming up, we tend to have conditions that are more conducive to severe weather, which we might be a little late already, right? Because of what happened about a week or two with the tornadoes in the area?
February 27th, 4 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
4 here in Kane County?
In Kane County.
Wow.
Yep. So those hit a big wide area of Kane County. So they were F0s and I think F1s or F2s. So, but there was quite a few properties and lots of trees down during those tornadoes.
Do we have to have a touchdown to officially call it a tornado, or just maybe some swirling or
No,
start of it?
So so National Weather Service has different classifications, as she said, of tornadoes. But to classify it as a tornado, yes, it's got to be a touchdown. Otherwise, it's called a funnel cloud.
Okay.
So you might see, the clouds swirling above you, and maybe something comes down from the clouds a little bit. That's not a tornado yet. It's probably going to be one. Sometimes they don't come down. Sometimes they come down a little bit, and they go back, and you don't see them again. But to be classified as a tornado, yes, it's got to be on the ground, and it's got to be observed, or official spotter can call the National Weather Service and say, hey, I got a tornado on the ground that's at such and such location, so that would be classified as a tornado.
And that always brings me to the burning question that I always have with it, is the difference between a warning and a watch. Is the warning is there is a touchdown, and the watch is watch out, that we have conditions for it.
The watch is that. The watch is we have conditions for that, and there's a possibility of it. A warning is that it's happening.
Oh, wow.
That whether it be a tornado or a severe thunderstorm warning, it's happening. So
I know you guys aren't meteorologists, but I guess as working in emergency management, you have to have some knowledge about all these different things. To me, it seems like, and maybe it's just perception, I don't know, but have tornadoes, what is and what isn't a tornado, has it been reclassified in recent years? Because it sure seems like there are more now, and it doesn't take as much widespread damage for something to be classified as a tornado as it used to be.
What's happened, so Beth and I have both taken classes with meteorologists from the National Weather Service, and they explain that the technology in the meteorological world has gotten so good that they're able to predict and see tornadoes a lot more than what they did years and years and years ago. So that's why, and Beth is probably going to mention this, but last year Illinois led the nation in the amount of confirmed tornadoes.
So it's 107 tornadoes were confirmed in the state of Illinois, which made us the state with the most tornadoes in the whole United States last year.
Wow. Okay.
So
like you said, Tornado Alley might
It's shifting.
might change.
So it has, and we've taken classes about this, and the meteorologists at the National Weather Service Chicago office have said that definitively the Tornado Alley. Usually it's, you think about Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. It has shifted to the east, and Illinois is definitely, not just on the outskirts, but definitely right in the middle of Tornado Alley now. So yes, it has changed to the east.
Because I grew up in Ohio, in the northeast, northwestern side of it, just on the edge of Indiana. and it's a lot of flat area for there. And a lot of times they do either structures or they put trees, lines, or anything like that to kind of break up that wind. With the cities being in the way of a lot of this wind, is that started to kind of creep over for it, or is it mostly that the planes are sending all of that wind over to us and it's slamming into the windy city?
Nothing to do with planes, nothing to do with trees and such. It doesn't matter what kind of tree. If a tornado's coming through, it's gonna rip out a tree no matter how big a tree is. But it's just some people say it's the climate change and things, other factors like that have moved the alley towards us, and I personally believe that. Because of the change in the climate and in that respect. But as far as putting barriers up, and some people say, Chicago is immune to tornadoes because they have large skyscrapers and such. No. If one's coming out of the sky, it's coming out of the sky, no matter if it's a large city or a rural area, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
Whether it's hills, valleys, it doesn't matter.
I teach a lot of kids classes. In one of my kids classes, I always ask, do we have tornadoes in Illinois? And a little boy, 7, 8 years old, raised his hand. He said, no, my dad says we don't have them here because we're protected by the bubble at Fermilab. I assured him there is no bubble there. I have a son that works there. And really, if there was a bubble there, it has popped. And we are now getting more tornadoes here. And we've always had tornadoes, but unfortunately, they have touched down a lot in cornfields and things like that,
right,
which haven't affected us. More recently, they have affected our communities and homes and things like that. So
it seems like, though, and everybody's got a theory as to why. Like, there's I'm not sure if it's a joke, but have you heard about the Elburn wedge? It's some mythical place in Elburn where as severe weather is coming towards South Elgin, it hits the Elburn wedge, and it goes 2 different directions and misses South Elgin every time.
We had a discussion about that, not the Elburn wedge, but there's another line of thought that the Byron nuclear power plant is creating a wedge like that. So I don't know if I buy into that, but sometimes it's coincidental that the storms will go north and south of a particular area. It's just coincidence. I don't know if I buy into the idea that Elburn's creating a wedge or Byron's creating a wedge, but I tell you, it seems like sometimes it does. Just looking at it, but there's probably nothing to it.
Yeah. Well, you say that. Go ahead, Beth. I'm sorry.
Well, I think, unfortunately, all of these things, like the Fermilab thing and the wedge and all that, has kind of made us a little complacent here in Kane County, because a lot of those tornadoes have ended up in cornfields, and we weren't seeing homes and things like that, and so many people being affected by it, and now we are. And so it is part of what this week is severe weather preparedness, and that's my job. And it's becoming even more and more important that we begin to start getting, well, not begin, because we have been working on that, getting people prepared for emergencies and disasters. Because if we can do that, it makes them more resilient, and it makes them less fear of what is coming at them, and it saves lives and it saves property, and so I'm hoping that these recent tornadoes, is going to encourage people and help them to know that we need to be better prepared for this weather patterns.
Do you want to talk a little bit about a few things that you'd like that people should do to make sure they are prepared? I guess we'll start with their house, right? Because that's where a lot of people are when tornadoes hit. So how do you best prepare for, to be ready for one if you're at home?
There's a whole list of stuff on the FEMA website. It's FEMA.gov of things that you need to have in your house. We offer classes to teach people, groups of people, adults, children, seniors, places of worship, businesses, on how to better prepare for those things. You can look on our website, and I believe they're the Elgin website, their emergency site, for lists of things that you need to have in your house. So
that is cityofelgin.org/fire/emergency management.
That's right.
Is where you can find it there.
Okay.
Also, the City of Elgin, you should be able to find it right from there, cityofelgin.org.
Right, and our King County Emergency Management website also has that list on there. I strongly believe that people who are prepared are going to be more resilient to these things, because when you're not when you're not prepared, you make irrational decisions. And if we can go back to talking about COVID. People were not prepared for that. And what is the biggest irrational decision people made during COVID?
I don't know.
They bought a lot of toilet paper.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was crazy.
Right. So, and I think that was maybe a little bit of a fear factor, and that's something that they could do. But we did not need all of that, that toilet paper. So,
No,
my job
not
is
in that moment anyway.
Right. My goal and the goal of King County Emergency Management, and I'm sure the goal of Elgin's emergency management team too, is that we focus on getting people more prepared for these things. There was a tornado in Elgin on last year, July 12th.
Yeah.
And we had to evacuate some people, and they didn't know what to bring with them. They didn't have any of their important papers with them. One of them forgot their phone at their house, so they didn't know phone numbers to the people that they needed to call to come and get them. So there is a huge list of things that you should have and be prepared for, if these kind of storms come. Not just tornadoes. We focus on tornadoes because that just happened, but this area, we have more floods than we do have tornadoes. So we do have flood stuff, and so that's one of the severe weather things that I was going to talk about, that we do have floods in this area. But the big thing I want to come out of that is that in 12 inches of water, 12 inches of moving water, a small car can be lifted away.
Wow.
And between 18 inches, a large SUV and a van can be taken away in floodwaters. So if you see floodwaters, turn around and
Don't drown.
is what they say. And then we're going to be facing some extreme heat here. Even the heat temperatures are going up in this area, and we're getting hotter and hotter through the summer. And there's a whole list of things on there, things that we need to have in our homes for that. Think about that heat wave that we had in, I think it was 1997 or somewhere around there, where the temperatures rose up to 95 up to over 100 degrees, and the heat index was 119, 120 for 4 or 5 days in a row. Lucky for us, our electricity didn't go out. And even though in the city of Chicago they had over 700 deaths, I believe in this area it was like 8 deaths, and mostly they were homeless people who were out in that weather. So it's important to know what you need to do in those conditions too.
Yeah. We're with Beth Drendel and Mike Oine. We're talking about severe weather. As we approach spring, we're on YouTube too, and Brian on YouTube says, going back to Mark's question about reclassifying tornadoes, weren't the scales changed from F to EF back in 2007, he asks. Anybody know the answer to that one?
I know they are EF. I'm not sure if they were F before that or not. He's probably right. But I know they're classified
I'll
as
have to ask
EF.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
It was in regard to a person's name. F was the last name of a person, of a meteorologist. I can't think of the guy's name, but that's what it's now EF, yes.
So July 12th was a big time around here, and I've heard a lot, being on this radio station for 7 years, about the Elgin tornado of 1920. That's like the big event that everybody remembers, that I think killed like 27 people or something back in 1920. Wow. But were the tornadoes or what happened last year on July 12th, was that the worst since 1920, or is there any kind of comparison? I mean, we didn't have any deaths, did we, on July 12th? No.
What's surprising about July 12th is, not surprising, but it's a good thing, is that we had 0 injuries. So as you know, the tornado started out towards Pingree Grove and parts west and traveled all the way. Actually, the line went almost to Villa Olivia. It came down, went up, came down in the clouds in different areas and hit a lot of rural area outside of Elgin. As Beth knows, her team with King County OEM took care of the people outside of Elgin. But and then of course the Edgewater people in Columbine and College Green. But it's quite a thing, and nobody got hurt, which is a great thing. And if you know some of the houses, or most of the houses that I can speak of in Del Webb or in Edgewater, don't have basements. So the people knew what to do. They knew to go in an interior room for shelter. away from windows. They did the right thing, and we had no casualties at all, which is just an outstanding thing.
And the other thing that helps with that is back then we did not have the technology that we have now.
Right.
And the faster, even the Plainfield tornado, the difference between then and now is huge as far as the warnings that go out to people and how much quicker that they go out to people.
Something I want to hit, as far as talking about warnings, I want to hit on that. For the city of Elgin, I know we have listeners outside of the city of Elgin, but for the city of Elgin, there's 23 warning sirens, and people call them tornado sirens. They're not just for tornadoes. It could be for a hazardous material incident where people have to shelter in place. They could be for, God forbid, for a nuclear attack or something like that. But typically they're for weather-related issues. So we have 23 located strategically throughout the city of Elgin. And we're getting, actually, as Elgin expands to the west, we're getting actually 2 more into the budget this year. One is going to be southwestern Elgin, and another one in the western edge of Elgin for areas that are going to be developed here shortly. So we're trying to keep on plan ahead and keeping on top of the game as far as placement of these sirens. But like Beth said before, they're outdoor warning sirens. They're not for, people call me up sometimes and say, oh, I didn't hear the siren when I was inside my house. Well, they're not for the inside, not for being inside your house. They're for outdoor warning. So if you're outside, playing golf, or if the kids are outside at a park and they hear it go off, it's for people that are outside. So it's an outdoor warning siren.
And if I'm outside, what should I be thinking as soon as I have it? Is it under something? Get behind something? Should I start calling people? What are the steps as soon as I hear it?
That's a big question that I get asked. If you have time to get in your car and get home, get home.
Okay.
But to find a sturdy building to get into is probably the safest thing to do. You're not going to want to go underneath a tree. We see what tornadoes and even windstorms and thunderstorms do to trees. That's not a safe place to be. So the very safest thing you can do is get in your car and get home if it's safe to do that. But if not, find a sturdy building to get in. And if there's no basement, the interior part of that building.
Okay.
And back to these alert things, if I could push any kind of preparedness thing that you could have in your house, and this is the first thing that you go and get, it's a NOAA weather radio. Because that is going to give you the information you need about the weather that is approaching, that it's on you, and then it's safe to come out. And those things work. They're a radio, so they run on batteries. So if your electricity isn't working anymore, they are a piece of equipment that can save your life. And so if you are going to go buy anything right now or today, I think that would be the biggest thing the thing that you should buy if it's just going to be one thing right now.
Another thing you could do is, in addition to that, that's a great advice, is to go to cityofelgin.org/alert, and that is our RAVE system. So if you live in the city of Elgin, this is just for City of Elgin residents, we have a RAVE system, so you can sign up for this. It's confidential, and you opt into it, and you'll get an emergency text. If our dispatch center sets off the warning siren for whatever reason, you'll get a text saying, okay, there's potentially a tornado warning in the Elgin area. So you get it's called RAVE, okay, RAVE. So cityofelgin.org/alert, and then sign up for the RAVE alerting system.
I think, one thing, like Sonar was saying, what you should do if you're outside. Now, 2 weeks ago when we had the tornado warnings around here, I had actually just left here and I was heading home. And my phone said there is a tornado warning for your area, take shelter immediately. Well, I'm in my car on the way home, and I think, and I'm not sure if there's anything that could be done about this, but one thing even Larry Jones has said on the show before, Kane County is such a large county that when you hear there's a tornado warning being issued for Kane County, a lot of people think, yeah, but seems okay around here. Kane County's large. It must not be hitting this part of Kane County, so maybe I don't need to take shelter right now.
So what the Weather Service has done, and Beth will attest to this, they've done in recent years, because Kane County and other counties in Illinois are so large, you're right, it was just, they used to give warnings just out for the county. And let's say there's a tornado going through the Aurora area, and it's potentially sunny up here. So the National Weather Service has now developed a system where they're trying to more isolate the areas of counties. So northern King County, southern King County, central King County. So that way, because if you get warnings all the time, people will maybe get calloused and maybe not listen to them because they're, I'm not going to listen to it. It's just probably a false alarm. Right. So they're trying to curtail that by designating, northern, central, and southern King counties as examples of trying to kind of hone in the area that's affected more than they used to before.
Well, and no, in a thunderstorm, your car is a safe place to be.
Yeah.
But in a tornado, it is not a safe place to be. And if you have any doubt whatsoever whether it's in your area, you probably should get into a sturdy building and out of your vehicle. These storms sometimes move slow, but other times, all of a sudden, they're right on top of you. It might seem like everything is calm right now, but when there is a warning out, you should probably take heed of the fact that it's a good possibility it could be in your area, and you should probably try to get into a sturdy building and not in your vehicle.
Yeah. The other thing about obviously with tornadoes and storms, you have lightning. And one thing I wanted to mention today about lightning safety is that lightning can be as hot as 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is actually hotter than the surface of the moon or surface of the sun. So it's important that if it's lightning outside or you see it in the distance, to seek shelter. And lightning can happen as far as 10 miles from the actual storm itself. So if you see lightning, take cover. Some, like for instance, golf courses in the Elgin area have a Thorgood lightning detection system. That helps out, golfers. It has a bubble and it senses the atmosphere and for conditions that may, have a lightning strike. So the Elgin golf courses have that, and I know other golf courses too. That's just one example. My son's high school has it on top of their gymnasium for kids that are outside playing sports at the high school. So if you hear the Thorgood lightning detection system go off in an area that you're at, it's usually 3 blasts. Okay. Then seek shelters, as soon as you can.
And if I'm out in the middle of a field, I guess lay down. I don't want to be the tallest.
You don't want to be the tallest thing in the field.
Especially if it's right on you, do not be running through that field because you can be the tallest. And never go underneath a tree, especially in a lightning storm, because if that tree gets hit, you're also going to get hit by it.
And I don't care how much you love those clubs. Leave them there. Leave them there. Don't be running in the rainstorm across the field after you've got the warning. That's the exact opposite of what you want to do.
With the golf club, you mean?
With the golf club and everything.
You've seen Caddyshack, right? That's the way it happens, just like it happened on Caddyshack.
So speaking of electricity, if you lose power, some people have generators. Another thing I want to hit on for a safety tip is generators. We've had, when I say we, the Elgin Fire Department is responding to calls where carbon monoxide problems have occurred because people have had their generators on in their garage. They think, it's in the garage, it's not going to my house. Well, carbon monoxide will go into your house through the cracks and such between the doors and the door jamb and things like that. So it's important if you have an emergency generator, which is nice to have, make sure you're powering it and leave it on outside so there's no carbon monoxide getting into your home.
Good advice there. Well, 12:56, we have about 3 minutes left for the top of the hour here, so I want to make sure we give you guys a chance to get anything in that we haven't mentioned yet so far. Mike, is there other things you want to mention here in the last minute or so? Couple minutes?
Like Beth said, it's National Preparedness Week, Severe Weather Preparedness Week. Each day the National Weather Service has a designated focus. Like Monday was receiving weather info, Tuesday was lightning, today is tornado safety, tomorrow is wind and hail preparedness, and Friday is flooding preparedness. So each day, if you go to the National Weather Service website, you can look at and get tips, or FEMA, or even our websites, and get tips on staying safe and being prepared for any kind of severe weather that may hit.
And we also have those posted daily on our website too.
Yeah.
So I guess in closing for me, if you can take anything away from what I said, it's really important that we get our community prepared for these emergencies and disasters. The Naperville mayor, the very last news thing that he did, one of the last statements he said is he hopes that the legacy of that tornado was that people were going to get prepared for emergencies and disasters. And that's my heart, to see this community. If I can reach further than this community. Right now I got to focus on this community. Getting people prepared, that I feel really strongly that doing that, we're going to save lives. And so it's important to do that. March 26th, from 6 to 8 o'clock, I'm doing a preparedness presentation at the King County Government Center in Building A. We have 80 seats. Right now I have 47 seats taken. So I have like 33 more seats to go. So if you are interested in doing that, go on to our website or the King County Board's website. The link to register for that is posted there. So get prepared. Call Mike Oine and set up a preparedness class.
Yeah.
I'll come out and help him teach it. And not just for adults, but for kids. At this point, I've taught over 2,000 kids preparedness in Kane County. I figure I got about 10,000 more to do, and I'm aiming for that.
If you've taught
So,
enough kids, I'm
Yeah.
sure Mark and I can follow along with it.
yes. If anything, I would want people to concentrating on getting prepared for emergencies and
Well,
disasters.
we're the new Tornado Alley, right? So
Yep.
what we saw last July 12th is something we're probably going to see a lot more of, unfortunately, and in the coming months. And it can happen any time of the year. It can happen in the middle of summer, as it did on July 12th of last year. So at least we're running out of time, but at least Elgin's got a brand new EOC, right? That's going to maybe help things out. The Emergency Operations Center.
Our command vehicle was in service, and we intend on using it quite often this year. So
Yeah, and using it at events, hopefully, and not events that are weather related.
yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Mike, for being here. Good to see you again, and same to you, Beth. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having us.
All right, Sonar, you're going to take over next hour, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk a little bit about the area here, and we'll open the forums like we usually do for Out to Lunch.
Sounds great. Another hour of Out to Lunch is on the way. Keep it here on YouTube and keep it right here on WRMN. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. here on the First Shift.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 1 o'clock.
With your AM 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Sky Rizzy. Explore proven results with Sky Rizzy. The Elgin Police Department has announced the date and location for its next Coffee with a Cop event. It's set to take place at Starbucks, located at 310 South McLean Boulevard, on Tuesday, March 19th through 11 a.m. until 12 noon. Naperville PD has a part-time opening for an intern in their social services unit. He'll be working alongside 4 clinicians and the crisis intervention team. Gain real-world experience, and applications for the position are due by March 22nd. You can find out more by contacting the Naperville Police Department. The Elgin City Council will meet tonight at 7 p.m. in council chambers at 115 Dexter.